Hello friends, welcome back to Creatives on Camera. Today's guest is Sondrassa of Art Quilts by Design, a pattern designer, quilter, and longtime Twitch streamer who's been live streaming her creative work for nearly a decade. She's built an active, loyal community through live streaming. In this episode, we'll talk a little bit about what Twitch is and how live streaming works for creative businesses. We'll talk about building deeper community connections. We'll talk about the tech she uses. And we will especially talk about consistently showing up for your community and aligning your business with your personality, with the things that matter to you personally. So whether you're a creative educator, designer, or shop owner, this conversation will give you new ideas for building connection and visibility through video. Let's get started. Hey, my friend. We are here with Sondrassa from Art Quilts by Design. And I am so grateful that you are giving a little bit of your time here for our audience members because the things that you do online are so interesting. And I think they will really enjoy hearing how you create community and how you build your audience through things like live streaming. So first, introduce yourself and tell me a little bit about your history and how you got to where you are in your business.
Sure. So I'm Sondrassa. I run Art Quilts by Design. Um, a little back history for my business in general. I do a lot of pattern design now and sell quilt patterns. But way back when I first kind of started, I did quilt commissioning. Um, and a lot of that I would stream on a platform called Twitch. So between live streaming, because I had kids and family and all those kinds of things. So it was kind of an easy way to kind of just pepper it into an already busy life. So I streamed, good 6 years solid, and then I've been on the platform for almost 9 years now. Um, on and off streaming, but most of my focus now is on pattern design and content in that manner.
All right. And when I met you, you were doing really, really cool things with live streaming. And I love all the parts of your business. And it's been so fun to watch it evolve and grow over time as your name kind of gets out there in this weird small pond of the quilting world. You're a big fish, and it's really fun.
Oh, I don't know about that. There's always a bigger pond, right?
Yeah, but I love this crafty, creative makers environment of people who are doing creative, beautiful things, and you're one of them. So let's go back a little bit and talk about Twitch because that's something that most people might not have considered for a vehicle to build an audience. Can you describe what it is, how you got on it, what you did there, and how it fit into your business model?
Sure, sure. So, um, Twitch is an online platform that I'm sure many of you viewers have probably heard in passing from maybe their kids or grandkids, because a lot of people watch Twitch for gamer content creators who sit there and stream gaming and things like that. But Twitch actually started as kind of an OG or original place for IRL in-person streaming, cooking streaming, just creative streamers in general. And then, video games kind of exploded, and then Amazon got their hands involved, and it went from, just this little corner of the internet where you kind of vlogged and did your own thing to now this huge international corporation that, all of us can come on to and build rapport with people from all over the world. So. But
Cool.
the creatives are still there. We're still there. We're just in a smaller little pocket now.
And what are they doing? How does it work?
Oh man, well, so you can pretty much do anything and everything, as far as there's a vibrant art community that will do physical art like painting or digital art on, say, Adobe and things. Then you have creators like myself who are quilters or leather workers. There are cosplay sewers. There are yarn enthusiasts who crochet and knit. Pretty much anything you can do. There's polymer clay. You can stream it. So it doesn't really take too much.
And streaming means that you've got a camera on, you're just working in your studio, and it's all live. It's going out to your audience. Is it the kind of platform where people find you organically? And is there a paywall? Tell me what's the point besides entertainment if you're a business person?
So if you're a business person, all right, so I guess for revenue's sake, we can kind of talk about there's Twitch and then there's YouTube. More people are familiar with YouTube because of video content, but they do have streaming services that they do now, so you could live stream. Each platform has its strengths and weaknesses. If you do not already have a community and you need the algorithm to feed you to people, you're going to want to stream on YouTube. If you don't mind putting in the hours and the long work, and maybe you already have a small community that you're bringing over from Twitter/X or Instagram, Twitch is probably going to be a better platform for you. You can make paywalls if you want, but the kind of base of the monetization, let's talk kind of a little bit about that before I digress too much. Right. So in streaming in general, what I'm doing, for example, if I'm streaming, is just kind of broadcasting on the platform, and people will pop in and click on my channel, sit in my chat room. Maybe they'll talk, maybe they'll not. We call those lurkers, and they're still really great support. And for most part, I want my content to be free so that anyone can come in and kind of watch, and I can build a community that way. You can have what we call sub-only mode, where you put a paywall and only people who have paid can see you. That's a great way if you already have a community and you're doing like a sub day where maybe you're playing games with only subscribers of your channel, or maybe you're doing like a craft day and you only want those community members to be able to access that content. But then, so if you're doing just a normal stream and it doesn't have a paywall to just access your content, then you have several tiers of what we call subscriptions or subs. For Twitch, for example, there are 3. Your basic tier of subscription is, depending on your location, is about $5. And then you have a $15 level and then a $25 level. And basically think of it kind of like a Patreon, really, because you're just having viewers who want to support you and keep you making the kind of content you're doing. And there's all sorts of different ways they can do that, whether it's through donations or things like that. But subscriptions are the most consistent that you can kind of achieve, because that renews every month, and it means people want to keep coming back for a longer period. They're more invested in you as the creator and the content you make.
So it's a live streaming platform where you hang out with your people, and you can give your special people more hangout or whatever it is.
You could. There's all kinds of different things, like just right off the bat, if somebody's going to subscribe at tier 3, there's really not much difference versus a tier 1. They get more what we call emotes, which are usually like personalized little emojis that you can use in the channel and across the rest of Twitch. So,
I can see this being interesting to the younger gaming generation, right? People who grew up with that, that's kind of a fun thing for them.
I mean, it's all relative, right? I mean, I'm a millennial, an older millennial, and I really enjoy it. It kind of creates an ecosystem in and of itself, because I, as a content creator, want to have really cute super emojis that are customized to me and my channel. So I'm going to then employ my artist friend to make customized emotes for me that I can use on the platform and in my Discord channel, which is another community tool that you can use. So
Right.
yeah, it kind of feeds off of each other.
And the live streaming can also be done on YouTube. A lot of people
Yes,
do
you
live
can.
streaming on YouTube, and I think you could probably do things like have unlisted links to send out to newsletter subscribers if they are going to have a special event or something.
Yeah.
So why, if we're not monetizing it that way, let's say somebody wants to build an audience on
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, what would be the benefit of live streaming versus maybe pre-recording a tutorial and putting that up?
So those are like two different beasts in and of itself, and really you
Right.
gotta kind of look at yourself as the kind of person that you are and what you thrive on. Because I love making videos and making short tutorials. It's easier for me because I don't have to have 20 different things going on my computer and pay attention and read chat and, have so many technical things. I can just focus
Right.
on my script and what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
recording, editing, get it out there, right? But I am a social creature. I'm an extrovert by nature. I thrive on that immediate engagement and interaction. It's why I also really enjoy doing webinars or Zoom classes, right? For
Mm-hmm.
patterns and things, because I can have immediate engagement with that audience member. And if that person, for example, if I'm doing a tutorial on English paper piecing and that person has a question right then and there, they can ask me, I can stop, roll it back, show it to them immediately, and that might lead us on a completely different tangent. Or, it's that immediate feedback of, okay, this is what they're looking for. I can feed off of this and feed them more content that they're engaging. And then it also builds connection, right? If I make a video on YouTube and I put it up there and somebody comments, that's great. But it's going to take a lot longer to build a connection and hoping they're going to come back for the next video, right?
Right.
If I do a live stream, whether it's 30 minutes, 2 hours is usually a good sweet spot for creative content. Some people I've had a live stream go as long as 13 hours. Um, you think it's a
Whoa,
lot of time,
girl.
but when you're really in the thick of it, like, it goes by really fast and it's fun.
Yeah, if you're already making a project that's going to take 13 hours, why not share it with everybody, right?
Right. Well, and that's a whole nother tangent, but the person can get more of a connection to you and you guys build a rapport faster. And then when you live stream again, if you're consistent, which is a key, and you have set days or times that people kind of get into their routine and their schedule, you build that rapport, and next time they pop in, you'll remember their handle and you'll be like, oh, so and so, it's so great to see you. How is that thing that you were doing the last time we were talking? Right? And that immediate feedback is
Right.
so important.
So
So it
this
really just
is,
depends on how much connection you want to have with your community.
I think that's so important, right? When we begin to think about how we want our business to look, to
Yep.
understand what we want, our personality, what we need as an individual. For
Mm-hmm.
instance, if you really don't want to deal with people, pre recorded video is a
Yep.
thing that can help you connect with your audience, but you don't have to do all of the
Mm-hmm.
back and forth. You don't have to know what to say in the thick of the moment.
Yep.
But that immediate connection, like in a live Zoom class or a live stream, if that's what gives you joy,
Yep.
that's really important, right? If we don't have our personality and our values aligned with how we're creating our business, there's going to be friction and it's going to be hard.
It really is. Well, and another thing, kind of circling back, the monetization aspect, right? You kind of have to think about, okay, how am I making my money? If you want a payday right now, streaming and a lot of times video creation is not going to be for you. Um, you know, for streaming, you have a lot of groundwork that you have to put into just building, whether you're using a phone or a webcam and a microphone. You know, I have a computer system that is catered to me. I do quilting content, so I have 6 cameras in my office. I've got wireless microphones, but I've been building this over 8 or 9 years.
Right.
When I first started, I just had a dinky little webcam and a Blue Yeti microphone, which is really typical for a starting streamer. And you just build from there. But you have to put that groundwork in to be able to become an affiliate, and then a partner if you're working on Twitch, or to get to the point where you're monetizing on YouTube. Because I can live stream right now on YouTube. I haven't spent as long on YouTube to build that community and to build the monetization up. So I am not partnered, I forget what it's exactly called, but like I cannot make ad revenue off of my videos yet.
Yeah,
and
you have
they
to have a certain number of watch hours.
And I'm almost there because I've been putting a little bit of groundwork. But the other thing for YouTube for their live streaming is what they call super chats. And Twitch has tried. Twitch and YouTube have this interesting relationship where they kind of borrow from each other and kind of like, oh, this person's right. And we've seen it in other industries. Nothing new. But they have a thing called super chats where the person watching, some of these streams get tens of thousands of people watching it. And so sometimes somebody wants their comment to really stand out. You can pay to get your comment highlighted and to get it tagged and pinned at the top of the chat box, right? So that way, maybe your content creator will more likely see it and read and interact with you in that way. So there are different ways to monetize. It's just a matter of, you know, where your priorities are and what kind of time and effort you want to put into it.
Yeah, and on YouTube and Twitch, it's about building a community. I do know a lot of shop owners who will do a live stream on Facebook at a certain time, and they do sales, and it works really well for them. But this is a whole different thing. Let's talk about...
It is and it isn't.
Okay. Yes. Of course. Let's talk about some of the technical aspects of live streaming versus creating a pre-recorded video. Let's say somebody has the rudimentary ability to create and edit a video and put it up on YouTube. How is live streaming a little bit different than that? Technically, like what do you have to have set up?
Okay, so let's just, as base, let's just kind of talk about in quilting in general. There are so many different ways to quilt a pattern or to sew a block, right? Same thing for video editing and live streaming. Just because I do it one way doesn't mean you can do it a different way, right? So we'll kind of get that out of the way first. So for me, there isn't really too much difference between my live streaming and my video content. A lot of my live streams are videos up on my YouTube. Because I record using OBS, which I have some workshops over on AVT that people can go check out if they want.
Fantastic, people.
But anyway, so I use OBS, and in doing so, I am able to use my webcam and my mic to broadcast to my platform, this being Twitch for the most part.
Let's tell people that OBS is Open Broadcasting System.
System, software, studio, whatever you're interpreting. But it's free. It is a free version you guys can access if you go to OBS.
And what does it do?
So OBS is a software that allows you to feed in your video input and your audio input, the mic and the camera, into the platform and broadcast it out in simplest of terms, right? If you start kind of digging into the meat and potatoes of OBS, you can set up things that we call scenes that have alerts that can notify on your screen in live time. You know, did somebody subscribe? Did somebody donate biddies? Did somebody, you know, just go buy a t-shirt off of your website? You know, you can program all those kinds of things to happen in real time on OBS. So while you're streaming, you can do that.
Right. One of the things I love about it is you can set up your screen exactly like you want it with an
Mm-hmm.
overlay of your company brand and URL, so it's showing all the time. I've used it before to have my overhead camera be
Mm-hmm.
streamed on the big whatever on the big screen, and then inset windows
Yep.
wherever and whatever size I want, where it's a face camera, so they see me talking and the overhead, and
Yep.
you can drop in pictures, and it's
You can set up
there's
a slideshow so you
right,
have all that going. You can the, the limitations there really isn't, right? If you can think of it, you can do it. And there's plenty of tutorials on YouTube if
mm-hmm,
you want to deep dive into certain aspects, right?
right.
So but yeah, so for me, I use OBS to stream, but at the same time as I'm streaming to the platform, I've hit the record button so that I'm also getting a high definition video of my live stream happening at the same time. So that way the stream goes out, it'll sit on that platform. Twitch, their videos will stay up 30 to 60 days depending on if you have Amazon Prime versus if you stream to YouTube, then you can take that stream and convert it into a video that'll sit there on the platform forever until YouTube's policies change. Now, I can take what I just recorded, and this is what a lot of content creators do, whether they're creatives or they're video gamers doing tutorials. They will take their live streams that they do on Twitch, they'll take their recording, and then they'll edit that down. So they're kind of like having multiple uses for the same content. Right. You only have to do it once. And then you can cut it down, trim it down into maybe a 5-minute tutorial video or a clip reel. You can trim it even further down and create an Instagram reel or a YouTube short. So for me, OBS and live streaming and video making kind of are all the same because I'm multitasking with my content. But I also, if I'm just doing a regular video, I'm also using OBS too. I don't have to stream, right? And it allows me to start and stop. The OBS is on my computer, it's software, and all of my cameras and my microphone are plugged in straight into my computer, right? So I don't have 3 different cameras that all have SD cards that, oh, was that camera charged? Did I forget to empty that one? Is there no room that I just recorded a 30-minute video and there was no room on that SD card and now, oh my god, I have to do it again? Right? There's none of that second guessing for me because I'm doing it all real time on OBS. I can immediately see what is happening on my computer. I can see there's audio bars if I've accidentally turned my microphone off, which I've done in the past. I can immediately see that, oh, the audio input isn't receiving and there's a problem instead of having to deal with it all in post-production.
Right. Yeah. That and there is quite a learning curve with OBS, but it's absolutely doable. If I can do it, anybody can do it for sure.
I mean, you really okay. So as somebody who engages with a lot of an older generation, it is so funny to me having those people say, "Oh, well, we're not very good with technology. Oh, we're not very good." My mom's the one who taught me how to use a computer. She's the one who taught me how to play video games. Like, you guys grew up with, computers in your working life in the same respect as we did, right? So,
and I always remind my technophobes, especially from the sewing quilting world, some of the machines that you use are far more technical to learn.
Don't get me started on embroidery machines. So you can
absolutely do
gosh.
it.
Yeah. Look at embroidery machines. Embroidery machines, they have all these different file types that to me is confusing as get out. And so if you can handle learning all these different machines and being able to do, like, you can do this. It's pretty easy.
All it takes is determination and giving yourself permission not to be perfect at the start and just plugging away. You're not going to break anything.
No.
Nobody's going to die. Just keep working at it and learning.
Think of it as, just playing around, right? Stop putting
Mhm.
so much stress on yourself about it. It's really not that big of a deal. And if you decide you don't like it, you don't have to do it. No one's saying you have to.
Right. That's so good. Sondrasa,
Yes, dear.
if you were looking at your future ideal business,
Mm.
if you imagined that there was an easy button, snap, and it's done, right?
Wouldn't that be nice?
I know, right? But what would it look like? And what would your online connection and community, is there video involved in it? How does that look?
So that's kind of I love that question because that's kind of what I'm trying to realign myself back to now, because I've been so focused the last 2 or 3 years on solely the patterns business, and growing that and being on the more industry facing side. I've really missed live streaming. I took the last year off from live streaming because I just couldn't juggle all of it. And for me, my future is live streaming and pattern writing, right? It's building community that's not focused on Meta and Instagram, right? Because that algorithm is constantly changing all the time. And yes, I have my newsletter that I've been building up, and that's great, but that isn't an instantaneous for me, right? So for me, the future of my business and my easy button is still going back to live streaming, rebuilding my community on Discord, which is a huge community platform, by the way. So if you're interested in that, people should go check that out. If you want a meta alternative, right? But so that's kind of where my focus is on, is rebuilding that community and that instant gratification, because I'm an extrovert. Sitting in my studio all day, like talking to myself, if I'm going to do that, I might as well turn the button on and talk to myself in front of people, right?
I get you. I completely get you. You and me both.
Yeah.
That interaction, I live for it. And when you think about it, even if you're not monetizing people watching you, it is such a useful add-on to a merchandise business, to a product business.
Yeah.
Right? Because how do people learn your pattern? How do they see it? How do they understand your story so they're interested in you as a designer?
Well, and like with any business, the name of the game is diversifying, right? And it's the same kind of thing with streaming. You're not necessarily going to make a complete living. I mean, there are people just doing streaming, but there's also ways you can monetize things like Discord, to do community nights and have it work kind of like a Patreon. And then when people start growing around you and really investing their time, and they watch you build something from the ground up, or work on, say, this quilt from block 1 to 99, they're invested in that story. They want to see you succeed. Even if they can't financially support you, they want to put it out there and help you so it can get out there, right? It's just making sure that you kind of keep in mind that you're building a community of people, not a community of like money bags, right? Because everybody needs social connection more now than ever, right? And there's so much more to us growing and flourishing than just money. I mean, money does buy my food and keeps it in the fridge, and so I like the money.
It is important.
It is important, but there's so much more to it than just, monetization, which I know is really important for a lot of people, but it takes a lot of hours, and you got to get used to talking to yourself. You got to be used to that chat room having 0 people or 1 person, right? And the best tip that I ever got for live streaming was you have to remember that every moment is somebody's first impression of you. And so when somebody comes into your stream, if they just see you doing this, that's not engaging. They don't want to stick around for that. But if you're bubbly and excited and talking and just commenting randomly about all these things, that's engaging. That's what you want people to feed off of your energy, right?
That is the gold nugget for this episode.
Yeah.
That is so good.
Yeah.
I'm going to write that somewhere. Every moment is somebody's first impression of you.
Exactly.
It's perfect. And when we keep in mind that what we're doing is serving our community, even though we're creating merchandise to sell, we
Yep.
are monetizing our skills and teaching them as courses.
Mm-hmm.
The way that we're approaching our customer, if we are approaching them as community members and as serving them,
Yep.
then it becomes an authentic kind of full circle thing, right?
Yeah.
They buy your pattern and then they watch you make it and they
Yeah.
understand more about it. You offer this community the gift of joy and creativity as they learn by watching you create something, and then maybe they go and buy whatever merchandise that you're talking about on there, even if you're not like pitching it.
Well, and sponsorship opportunities too, right? Like
Hmm.
I've been sponsored by places like HelloFresh, because they want to tap into my community too, right? If you have affiliate links, that's one way to do it. You do sponsor streams, you do sponsor videos, things like that. And I think that's one thing where our industry needs to catch up to other industries like woodworking, because woodworking community and industry, the manufacturers and all of them understand that sponsoring these videos are important because they're accessing a community straight on the ground level. They're not coming from this high and mighty corporation. They are getting in through a computer, through a TV, right? And other industries, our industry and other corporations need to think about that too.
Yeah,
There are
thinking more in
plenty of
terms
people.
of brand ambassadors, but those relationships, I mean, you have to think they're fantastic. I mean, we encourage a lot
Yeah.
of collaborations like that, but that's a whole nother episode, I think.
It is, but it feels a little more strict and not as fluid,
and not
especially
two-way.
Mm-hmm. I know that our demographic as quilters, our customer is an older generation, but people need to remember that younger generations are coming up, and they have a more modern approach, and they are going to need more flexibility in marketing, in the way we approach them and the way we reach them.
And you have to go where your community is.
Yeah.
And it might be Twitch, Discord. That'll be interesting.
I love
to look
Discord. If you want to talk about Discord, sometimes we can do a deep dive on that, because that's a creature in and of itself. But live streaming, whether you're on Twitch, whether you're on YouTube, I've streamed on Whatnot. There are so many different platforms that you can kind of do it now and focus. And honestly, you can do it on your own website. You can set up live streams and that kind of thing if you have that hosting capability.
Right.
But
and if I remember right, OBS lets you stream to different platforms all at the same time.
Well, so
sort
that
of?
You've got to remember, look at your contracts. Because like for me, I'm an affiliate with Twitch. For the longest time, it meant that I couldn't dual stream because they didn't want. Twitch had exclusive rights over my content for 24 hours, and then I could upload it to somewhere else.
Gotcha.
But now they are kind of approaching a more modern thought, because TikTok allows live streaming as well. And a lot of people were choosing to go over there if they were going to spend their time streaming than over on Twitch. But so now there's dual streaming is allowed. So I can stream on Facebook Live, I can do YouTube, I can do TikTok, and I can do Twitch all at the same time if I wanted to. Right? That's an option. But you have to remember, with that putting yourself out there, that's a whole lot of chat. Whole lot of different boxes that you got to be paying attention to. So it's something to think about. A lot
if you're ADD and able to pay attention to 10 things at once.
And that's where you kind of, start out small, focus on one platform and growing there, right? Twitch might not be for you if you want to focus on video content and just have, because for video content creators over on YouTube, you can use streaming as a membership perk that only people who are members of your page get access to that live stream.
That's a
Right?
good
So that's
thought.
one way to monetize it.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, Sondrasa,
Yes, dear.
I can't wait to see where you go next and what you're doing. And we're definitely going to have to get back together for part 2 when you're ready, and
Yeah.
we'll talk about Discord because it is a super fun platform.
I love it. Yes.
Yeah. And finding especially the younger audiences in the arts and quilting and crafting world and pulling them in. I mean, they're out there. They're all over the place. So you can't say they're not there. You just have to go where they are.
Well, and we saw a huge surge during COVID, right? Joanne's had a market report before they've gone under that showed that younger generations were coming out in droves to start creating and making masks and more traditional kinds of clothing and things. They're there. It's just a matter of tapping into it and, getting them hooked so they don't go, craft hopping to something else, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Serving our community. Well, Sondrasa, thank you so much for your time with us.
Thank you for having me.
I have a surprise off-the-wall question to ask you, and you can answer off the wall if you want.
I always do.
What is the last thing you made?
The last thing I made, like quilting rise, or just in general?
It can be anything.
Quilting rise. So the last thing I finished creating was actually that quilt there with that little gecko on it that has some English paper piecing.
Lovely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Gecko quilt. And what was a not quilt thing that you made?
A non-quilt thing that I made. So I do a lot of cooking. I love to cook and bake. So the last thing that I made was banana pudding for Easter. And I put all sorts of like Cool Whip and condensed milk and all that kind of, so it's like this super rich fatty, like you're gonna gain 10 pounds just looking at it. And I used Chessman cookies instead of Nilla wafers, because Nilla wafers don't really taste very good anymore, so you use the Chessman Pepperidge Farm. Yeah, so yeah. Watch the fat
Guess
girl
what
talk
I'm
about
craving
food
now. No, my friend.
Yeah,
that's totally what I'm craving now. You know what I just started doing?
What?
We have a new grill, and I got a little smoker tube. I learned how to smoke cheese.
That's fantastic.
Oh my gosh.
We have a smoker, we have a pit boss, and my favorite is carnitas. Smoking carnitas, and then now I'm hungry.
Me too. Me too. We're gonna have to deal with it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much, my friend.
Thank you
Where
for having me.
Where can people find you?
So you can find me on artquiltsbydesign.com. That's my main website. You can find me on Instagram at Sondrassa Sews.
With one S?
Yeah. Sondrassa Sews. Yeah.
Right.
Sorry. Had to spell it in my head. And then if you're looking for me on Twitch, I'm at twitch.tv/Sondrassa. So,
All right. And friends, we'll have all of those links in the show notes so you can go find her amazing patterns. I really love the quilts she makes. They are beautiful. Until we see you again, thanks, Sondrassa. Bye-bye.
Bye.